As we look at 2016 in the rearview mirror, only to discover a white-eyed serial killer sitting in the back seat, causing us to remember too late that when you're in a horror movie, you never get into your car without checking the back seat first. It's time to take a quick look at the final events of the year. Soon-to-be former President, what's-his-name, is preparing for a transition to a new Trump administration, which in turn is preparing to wipe out any trace he ever existed. President Ohama, or O'Hara, whatever his name is, has been busy smoothing the way for Trump by loosening all the tops of the White House salt shakers so that the new president will accidentally dump tons of salt on his food, short-sheeting the White House beds so that Trump will tear the linen, and starting a new Cold War with Russia. President Lama also used a penknife to scratch the word legacy into the wall of the Oval Office, claiming that now his legacy can't be erased. When told that's not actually how a legacy works, President so-and-so stuck his fingers in his ears and shouted, "If I can't hear you, you don't exist." He then jumped into the Washington Mall reflecting pool because he'd read in the New York Times that he could walk on water. No one knows where the president has gone since then, or particularly cares. In other end-of-the-year news, actress Carrie Fisher died, and feminists paid tribute to the woman who finally convinced 13-year-old boys that watching a girl in a bikini chained to the living image of their darkest desires really is as arousing as they thought it would be when they fantasized about it in the privacy of their own bathrooms. Fisher suffered from various mental disorders, which she blamed on the fact that her mother, actress Debbie Reynolds, was always upstaging her, but we can't talk about that now because Reynolds also died and was a much bigger star, so we have to talk about that instead. Democrats say they're going to retaliate against Russia for hacking into John Podesta's emails. Democrats say it was one thing when the Russians murdered tens of millions of their own people in service to communism. It was another thing when they enslaved half of Europe for 70 years, and yet another thing when they invaded Crimea and slaughtered thousands in the Middle East. But when they embarrassed John Podesta, well, that's just going too far. Russian dictator Vladimir Putin responded to White House sanctions by issuing a statement saying, quote, "I laugh, bear-like laugh, saying ha 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 when girly American president tries to act like man against mighty Vlad," unquote. President Gurley responded to the taunt by angrily canceling Putin's HBO subscription. And finally, Ultimate Fighting legend Ronda Rousey's comeback attempt went awry when Amanda Nunes beat her to a pulp in 48 seconds. The media awarded Rousey the championship, however, pointing out that while she was utterly humiliated in the ring, she won the popular vote. Trigger warning, I'm Andrew Klavan, and this is The Andrew Klavan Show.
I feel hunky-dunky, life is tickety-boo. Birds are winging, also singing hunky-dunky-doo. Ship-shaped, ipsy-topsy, the world is zippity-zing. It's a wonderful day, hurrah, hooray! It makes me want to sing. Oh, hurrah, hooray! Oh, hooray, hurrah!
How did all these people get in my bedroom? Oh, I'm back. The vacation is over. What a time. And 2017 has begun. That vacation, I did nothing. I mean, the highlights of my vacation, I smoked a cigar with my son while the sun went down, and we played Gears of War. I got an Xbox for Christmas. We played Gears of War, and I basically spent most of my time talking to my 2-year-old grandson. I downloaded an alphabet game into my iPad. I now know, because 2-year-olds want to repeat everything again. I now know more about the letter H than Elmo does. I have the letter H down pat. Anyway, what a year. This is going to be so much fun. We're done with Obama. I got to say, I am so glad to see that guy, the back of that guy's suit. Man, it's like 8 years of this is not who we are. This country is just the same as every other country, and I don't know why we're bullying everybody. 8 years of that drag, man, to have somebody come in who at least enjoys the country, and we're going to have some crazy Trump stuff going on. It's going to be entertaining. And then at the end, if you believe in Jesus, you go to heaven. What's not to like? But listen, it is going to be a roller coaster. I'm warning you now. So you might be a little bit concerned about the security of your savings. And that is why we are welcoming a new sponsor today. Birch Gold. You know, the Federal Reserve has been printing money like it's going out of style. There's going to be some inflation. You want to make sure that your savings don't get eaten away. And that's why now is the perfect time to secure your hard-earned money by moving into precious metals. And the company we love, and you know, Shapiro talks about it all the time, and we're talking about it here now, is the Birch Gold Group. Birch Gold sells physical precious metal for your own possession and will ship the metals right to your front door. And right now, thanks to a little-known IRS tax law, you can even move your IRA or eligible 401k into an IRA backed by physical gold and silver. It's perfect for those who want to ensure that your hard-earned retirement savings are protected from the ravages of inflation and any more stock market crashes, which, of course, can happen anytime. Birch Gold Group has a long-standing track record of continued success, thousands of satisfied clients, countless five-star reviews, and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. You can get in touch with Birch Gold Group and request a free information kit on physical precious metals, no obligation. It's a comprehensive 16-page kit which reveals how gold and silver can protect your savings and how you can legally move your IRA or 401k out of risky stocks and bonds and into a precious metals IRA. No cost, no obligation. To get it, go to www.birchgold.com/Andrew. That's www.birchgold.com/Andrew. Check it out. Even if you're young and you're just starting out, good thing to be paying attention to your money. All right, this is going to be a blast. I got to say, I am really today as we're speaking. Congress is in session. The first time in 8 years you can hear those words without like your throat closing. It's like Congress. And Trump was at his New Year's Eve party. This is a little hard, but this is hard to hear. But Trump at his New Year's Eve party talked about what he wants to do, just starting out of the gate.
The taxes are coming down. Regulations are coming off. We're going to get rid of Obamacare because we're going to have strong borders so that when people come into the country, they're going to come into the country legally, which is the way we want it. We will build the wall, you know that. We're going to get things running properly.
I love that if you can't see, if you're not watching, the guy holding the eagle in back of the stuff. I assume it's a stuffed eagle. It's not like just pinioned back like that. So he's the official eagle holder. I don't know if he'll pass the Senate confirmation hearings, but he's the Trump eagle. If you couldn't hear that, what he said is taxes are coming down, regulations are coming off, Obamacare is gone, and the wall is going up. You know that. So and listen, that is all stuff that Paul Ryan can sign on to, and that's a big deal. I mean, Paul Ryan is in a very delicate position. Remember, he did not support Trump during the election. They never appeared together during the election. He didn't stand up for Trump during that, remember the Bush tape with all the, I go around grabbing women and all that stuff. Kind of Ryan was sort of just edging toward the door at that place, and Trump has a long memory. But they're both, these are both political men. They know what they're doing. These are all things that Ryan can sign on to. They're going to get to Obamacare. They're talking about it right away. They're going into session even as we speak, so I assume that Ryan is being re-elected. The Democrats, meanwhile, their strategy is to get in the way of everything. They've already, Chuck Schumer, the Senate Democrat leader, he comes out and he's got 8 people appointments that he's going to slow walk. He says he's going to hold them up, including Rex Tillerson at State, the Department, Jeff Sessions, the Attorney General, Betsy DeVos, all the important ones. Says he's going to hold up. I think that's great. I think that's going to be a great strategy if they want to have nobody in Congress next after the next election. So that's going to be really funny. The thing is, they're selling this. I saw this in the New York Times today, former newspaper, and they're selling this all over the mainstream media. Is that, well, this is what the Republicans did. The Republicans were obstructionist, and they keep quoting Mitch McConnell, who said, my major objective is to make sure Obama is a one-term president. But they make one big mistake. And here is Allison Camerata being caught. CNN, Sean Spicer, Trump's spokesman, catches her making this mistake right here.
They put a list of 10 people out saying we're going to oppose these 10 people, not on the basis of their qualification to hold office, not on their qualification to enact change or that they were the best person, but because they thought they could score political points.
And the Republicans, again, before President Obama ever got into office, famously said, we are going to oppose every possible thing that we can. I mean, isn't this sort of how the game is played in Washington?
No, actually,
sadly?
again, just to correct the record, Mitch McConnell, a year after President Obama was in a political setting, our goal is to make him a one-term president. What Republican doesn't want to make sure that that we have one-term people of the opposition party? That's our job, is to make sure we elect more Republicans.
Right.
So that comment was said a year after he got into office. The idea that they are now trying to obstruct this cabinet prior to him even taking office is quite contrary to anything that's even come close to this.
And even Spicer gets it wrong. It was 2 years. It was 2 years after Obama took office, right before the midterm election, when it was politics time. That's when Mitch McConnell said it. That was 2 years of Obama saying, "We won. We're shoving Obamacare down your throat. We don't have to pay any attention to you." Remember John McCain would make a suggestion and he'd say, "You lost the election, John." Mr. Grace. The New York Times is always saying, "We're going to miss his graceful, kindly, polite." He was a schmuck. He was an absolute. He's been such a downer. It's been, I don't think the people on the East Coast and the West Coast understand what it just feels like. If you were a football player and your coach came out and said, "Well, we like our team, but they like their team, and we don't want to bully them. We don't want to be, it's not fair for one team to go to the Super Bowl." I mean, that's what the guy has been like. It's like, hell yes, it is. Hell yeah, this is our team. This is our country. It's a better country than anybody else. Every country on earth that is free owes it to us. Every single free man walking the planet owes it in some degree to the United States of America. We're allowed to cheer for this country. We're allowed to believe in it. We're allowed to keep it strong. It's just been such a drag. So now Obama is using his last days in office to try and mire Trump in old business to protect his legacy. And, it's funny. You think of Obama as a great politician. He did such a bad job during his first term. The economy was lousy. The war was blowing up. He lost the war we had already won in Iraq and all this stuff. And yet he won the election. So you sort of think of him as this great politician. Plus, he did drive conservatives nuts. He just said things that would make conservatives go crazy. He would shove all this stuff through executive orders. And nobody would stop him because he was the first, black president trademark. So everybody was afraid to stand up. They would announce beforehand that they would never impeach him. They would do all this stuff. The press didn't cover any of his scandals and all this stuff. But I'm beginning to wonder if he was just given such a clear path to do anything that he wanted, that he looked a lot smarter than he was. Because some of the stuff he's doing now, he is now maneuvering politically. So there's all this stuff with Russia, right? Russia, 18 months ago, they found out that Russia had tricked John Podesta with a phishing scam into letting them put some malware in his computer. They got some emails that embarrassed him. Now they're saying, oh yeah, now they're calling it they hacked the election. They didn't hack the election. They hacked John Podesta. They did this to me once. I got a virus on my computer, probably looking at some disgusting thing I shouldn't have been looking at in the first place. And I got a virus on my computer. What did I do? I went on the internet, thought free antivirus software, downloaded that, and my computer basically blew up. And I called our tech guy. He came over the house and he said, "Yeah, the Russians do this. What they do is they put these things that say free antivirus software up there, and it blows up your computer, and then you pay to get them to come in to get software that they sell you that will take it out. It's like the Russian mob. It's a scam." And I had a guy that I called, so he just lifted it out. So they hack everybody. This is what they're doing. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying we don't have to pay attention to it. But what Obama's doing is he's now suddenly it becomes a big deal, and he announced that he's going to expel over 30 diplomat spies from Russia. This is his announcement. It's a lame duck. What? So Putin doesn't even bother to retaliate against him. It's like, I don't care what girly lame duck says. Ha ha ha. It's like he's dealing with Boris Badenov over there. And at the same time, Kellyanne Conway makes the point. She makes it politely, but she basically makes the point that this is politics.
And I think those who are trying to bait him into a bigger response, I would say two things to them. Number one, you can't have it both ways. You can't on the one hand say, hey, just one president at a time, and we have one now for the next 20 2 days or so named President Barack Obama, but at the same time, you want the president-elect to make new policy. I was really disappointed to read in David Sanger's New York Times piece this evening the allegation or the supposition that perhaps one reason that these sanctions are taking place is to, quote, box in President-elect Trump, forcing him to take a position or otherwise once he takes office. I hope that this isn't motivated by politics even a little bit.
Yeah, even a little bit. This babe is the smartest person in the administration so far. She is so on point. She really is following stuff. Here's the thing. Here's what they're doing. Okay, here's what the Democrats, led by Obama, are doing. Trump has a problem with Russia. He's got lots of holdings over there, lots of business with them. Donald Trump Jr. said Russians make up a pretty disproportionate cross-section of our assets. Got lots of friends. He had, remember, Paul Manafort, Rick Gates, Carter Page were all parts of his campaign, and they were all deeply involved with Russia. This is what the Democrats are going to do if Trump doesn't, get tangled up in dealing with Vladimir Putin. Then they're going to say, oh, he's not doing it. He's been going easy on Russia because he has all these holdings. Hey, we have to say goodbye to our friends on Facebook and YouTube. Come over to the Daily Wire and listen to the rest of the show, or subscribe, and you can be a part of the show. And tomorrow is the mailbag. Now, this is coming upon us so quickly, we may not get any questions. I don't know. But send in your questions. This is a great time because there won't be many. Subscribe to thedailywire.com for a lousy $8 a month, and you can send in questions. We answer all your questions. Our answers will change your life and fulfill your dreams, and it's an amazing experience, trust me.